radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Today's Tuesday, December 4th, 2018. 338 days into the new year. Just 27 days left. Wow. We're late in the fourth quarter here, folks. And as always, we are live. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world. All across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south. Far and near. That's right, this is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking? Hey, how you doing? How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Tonight I'm going to review Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, and I'm going to do that with Wolf McCarron. That's right. Wolf McCarron, one of the original Area 51 researchers. Little curious note about Wolf. Probably all of the footage you have ever seen of Area 51 in a documentary, on the History Channel, Travel Channel, whatever, any movie, anything that you have ever seen on Area 51, chances are Wolf McCarron shot it. He was out there as a young man, and a very young man, with a video camera, running around, chasing after and being chased by all of the camo dudes, and just was out there with all of the original cats, all of the original guys back in the early 90s. That was Wolf McCarron. And he had the vision to carry a video camera with him and shoot it all. He's got the most extensive Area 51 video library on the planet, and the cool thing is he shot it all. All right, so if anybody's going to review, and he's met Bob Lazar, if anybody's going to review the film, it's going to be Wolf. Now, and the other cool thing is, last night at the premiere, sitting to my left, next to me, was Wolf. Okay, so we watched the film together. And there you go. Now, and the other thing is, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, Wolf and I have not discussed the film. I just decided let's do it like this. You've got your opinion. I've got mine. We saw what we saw. Let's talk about it tonight. And Wolf is somebody that I have known personally for just over 30 years. Okay, I've known Wolf. And I trust his opinion, but his knowledge of Area 51. You know, there are things about Wolf that I can't even talk about. Well, I would mention it, but he would be upset. But let's just say he's collected stuff from Area 51 that is owned by the government. But that's it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I can't say anymore. You want to know more, but I just can't say it. Tomorrow night, we have a very special surprise guest. I'm going to announce that guest tomorrow. And yes, you will be surprised. Thursday night is another Fader night with Teresa Yannaris, Divine Frequency on the airwaves, followed by open lines all night long. Now, on Stellar. Okay. If you want, you can head over to On Stellar right now. I posted it, the links to it a few minutes ago. I posted my review of the film, which is a very short version of the show tonight. And obviously, I can't do a full review and a 2.5 hour review and type that out. That's a book. We don't need 5,000 words for a review. I wonder how many words is in that review. I thought it was too long, and I wanted to add more to it. But so I held off. In fact, I took a lot of paragraphs out for a couple of reasons. One, I just wanted that review to be simple and to the point and honest, of course. But the other thing is I just wanted to leave something on the table for tonight. But if you want to go and check out that review, the links are up at Twitter. They are also over on Facebook. Okay, so you can head over and read the review and have it forever if you so desire. Okay, so that's On Stellar, onstellar.com. Twitter, you can follow me there at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube, you know what to do. Okay, just go over to jimmychurchradio.com and click. You can follow, like, and subscribe right now. At JChurchRadio, though, is where it's at for Twitter. Not only during the show tonight, but you can use hashtag F2B while you are there. That is the sandbox. And I say it often. We don't bite. Come over, hang out in the sandbox. There's going to be 3,000 tweets tonight that are going to go down during the show. Head over to the sandbox and get involved with the conversations that are going on there. We also have not one, but 2 chat rooms, one over at Spreaker and one over at KGRA, The Planet. You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Okay. All right. Lots to talk about tonight. It was a very, very, very big night here in Hollywood, downtown at the Ace Hotel. We had our own after party upstairs. I don't know, on the roof. I don't know if there was any kind of after party with Bob or Knapp or Corbell downstairs. I don't know what was going on there. All the Fadernauts gravitated to the roof where we took that over. It was a lot of fun. If you were there, we'll post some pictures. But if you were there, call in tonight. If you were at the premiere, you don't have to be a Fadernaut. If you're at the premiere, you can also give us a call here. I would love to hear from you guys tonight. And the phone lines that we're going to be using, 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. And I'll open up the phone lines here in a little bit. If you were at the premiere last night and you have an opinion about the movie, we'd love to hear from you. Tonight's the night to do that. You can come and join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo right here in Los Angeles, California at the LAX Hilton. This year we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken. I am going to be hosting the panel with Eric and Linda Moulton Howe and Jason Martell, Billy Carson, David Wilcock on Friday night. So you're going to want to attend that. That's a big, big evening for us there. Lots of celebrations that are planned for that for Eric. So you're going to want to hang out for that. Also, you've got George Norrie, Nassim Haramein, Robert Schock, Daniel Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, Teresa Yannaris, and another 50 speakers are all going to be presenting at the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. Go to consciouslifeexpo.com for tickets and a full conference schedule. And you can also just click on the CLE banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Go and get it now. Get your stuff arranged. It's at the LAX Hilton. So if you're coming in from out of state, up north, whatever, You're just flying into LAX and you're walking to the hotel because it's right there. You could literally, if you got a roll-on carry-on bag, you can walk to the hotel. You can also Uber. You can take a taxi or whatever. But it's literally right there at the entrance of LAX in Los Angeles, California. Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? We announced Hoffman's Optics a couple of weeks ago, our newest sponsors here at Jimmy Church Radio at Fade to Black. They are the makers of our night vision goggles. Okay? The Area 52s. Yeah, they're really cool. The deep blues. So all you have to do is go to hoffmansoptics.com, click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com, give Alec Hoffman a call. He's there. He's a Fadernaut. He's there for you. He'll answer all of your questions, point you in the right direction. Okay, they've got a lot of great stuff that is going on over there. Thank you for that, John. I will retweet that right now. There you go, Hoffman's Optics. All right. Yeah, Bitcoin. What's up with that? I was reading IB Times, International Business Times, one of my favorite websites, by the way. I don't know who runs it. I don't want to know. But the information is really good. They had an article up, I think it was yesterday, that said Bitcoin is probably going to settle in at around $2,500. That's what it's going to do. I think it's going to go lower. But to have IB Times say that, and here we are, it's been right around $3,800, $3,700 now for a couple of, well, certainly the last 7 days. It seems longer since the power slide started. But Bitcoin, where is it going to stop? Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. It is just $2 per month. Go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on that podcast banner. You're going to get over 950 archive shows. You get all of the apps that you need, right? Whether it's Apple, Android, whatever it is, Google Store, iTunes. Go and get the app, $2 a month, runs automatic. It's updated every single day for just $2 per month. You can also become a Fadernaut over in our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Become an official Fadernaut today. You can do it for free if you want. And you can even get any level, right? You can get just downloadable archives. You can do by the month. You can do by the year. You can become a game changer. You can get autographed hats and T-shirts. You're going to get an email to me, a private email to me. What else do you get? You get the bunker cam. Yeah, that's going to get sussed out. Is it running tonight? I didn't even check. Bunker cam running? Somebody post me a tweet. I didn't even look. All right. Let's get the show cracking. Don't forget to visit all of our sponsors here at jimmychurchradio.com. I got to say happy birthday to today, one of our favorites. Marissa Tomei is 54. Won an Academy Award for My Cousin Vinny and deserved it. Jeff Bridges today is 69, and you know why he makes the cut. There's a lot of reasons, but one big one, the Big Lebowski. Jeff Bridges today, the dude. What's the guy's name that narrates the Big Lebowski? The Marlboro Man, the guy with the gray mustache. Who is that? Okay, it's working. Bunker cam is good. Thank you. Who's the dude with the gray mustache? The Marlboro Man that narrates the Big Lebowski. Thank you for not smoking. It's that guy. I can't. Viewing Adonis. Thank you. Viewing of Adonis confirmed. What's his name? What's his name? Does anybody know? Okay, all right. Post his picture. Thank you for not smoking. All right. Where am I at? On this day in history, OTD, 1872. A British ship under Captain David Morehouse spots the Mary Celeste. That's right. And paranormal activity was born. Not Tom Selleck, Karen. Sam Elliott. That's good. Who did that? Rev Jimmy, all the way from the UK, comes in strong with Sam Elliott. It's very impressive there, Jimmy. Anyway, paranormal activity started on this day in 1872. A British ship under Captain David Morehouse spots the Mary Celeste, an American vessel sailing erratically, but was at full sail. All the sails are up near the Azores Islands in the Atlantic Ocean. The ship was seaworthy. Its stores and supplies were untouched. But nobody, not a soul, was on board. And the rumors and the stories about what was there when they got on board, like the food was still warm. The lifeboats were there, right? It's one of the craziest stories ever, but it happened on this day in 1872. Fate or fact? Okay, here we go. Are you ready? The toothpaste Colgate in Spanish translates to, are you ready? Wait for it. Go hang yourself. Is this thing on? Hey, that's a great picture right there of Sam Elliott. Yep, that's him. That's Sam with a thin mustache, but that's Sam. Good job, John. All right. Also in Roadhouse, is he really? Sam Elliott was the Marlboro. Yes, Sam Elliott was. He's one of the Marlboro men. That's why he was in that movie. Thank you for not smoking. I'm pretty sure. Am I wrong? Wasn't Sam Elliott a Marlboro man? Somebody please confirm. I really don't want to be the disinfo guy. I really don't. All right. Where am I at? Tonight I'm going to review Jermey Corbell's new film. The film is called Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. I'm going to do that with Wolf McCarron. He's going to be with us here in a few short minutes. And how important... God, I got to hit this coffee. Colgate. Colgate translates into go hang yourself. Are you quoting me or... It's true, right? I think so. What is it? Colgate? I don't know. How important are these films? You know, and we've had a lot of them lately. Serious, right? Unacknowledged, back to back from Stephen Greer. You know, there's Above Majestic. The Hunt for Skinwalker. Now we've got Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers. How important are these films? And what is going on? Now, these are, except for Sirius, but these are major studio releases. And they're documentaries. And for most of these are put out by The Orchard. And I understand this segment of the viewing audience. It's a big one. And people are talking about us and this subject, right? So it's not, please remember something. It's not just us watching Above Majestic or, like Bob Lazar. It's not. It's getting outside of our community. Our community is very, very, very small numbers. I mean, big numbers to us in the world side of things. When you look at a TV show like Ancient Aliens, the average Ancient Aliens viewer never heard of Bob Lazar, has no idea. Rendlesham, no. They may know Area 51 because of Independence Day, but they don't know Area 51 because of Bob Lazar. They don't listen to Coast AM. That's the average. And so you got to think about how small our community is. The numbers for Above Majestic, I don't know what those are, but they're not very big. And the numbers from our community or whatever that are watching Above Majestic, small. Those numbers are small. It's outside of our community where the numbers are big. That's something to think about, how important are these films? And I look at it this way. When we have the UFO community, and please, everybody, just listen to what I am saying, because there are others that are going to listen to this little monologue later that are not part of this community. Or they may be listening now because they've wandered into the show, but they're not a part of this community. Like I said, they don't know who Bob Lazar is. They don't know who Corey Good is. They don't know who Richard Dolan is. They don't know. They don't know, right? Okay. So the importance of these films is who is viewing it outside of our community. When you look at a film like Sirius, the reason why Sirius was successful, first off, the film was a little bit different. Okay? It covered a lot of ground. It covered consciousness. It covered awakening. It did. It had some UFO stuff in it. It did have the Atacama alien mummy dude in it, right? With Emery. So, it had that. But if you watched the movie, you knew by watching it that the Atacama mummy was like a couple of minutes of the film. It really, you had to. I watched the film for that and was so disappointed in that it was such a small part of the film. Sirius reached into the consciousness community, the yoga community, the awakening community. And that community doesn't know who Bob Lazar is. That community doesn't know who Corey Good is. That community doesn't know necessarily about things like Roswell or Malmstrom Air Force Base. They don't know. Kenneth Arnold. They don't know about these things. And that's the importance of these films, is the reach out on the outside of it. Because when you look at Unacknowledged, my criticism of Unacknowledged, the film is great. Film is edited really well. Having Louis Armstrong saying "It's a Wonderful World" at the beginning, hey, you know what? That was strong stuff, right? Mikey Mazzola, the way that he edited that and put that film together, very commendable. But that film wasn't made for our community. It was made for everybody else. It was made for my parents who know nothing about UFOs. It's always focused at the lowest common denominator, right? And that's what Unacknowledged did. And Above Majestic, in very large part, does the exact same thing. There was some breaking stuff in Above Majestic that I had never seen before, and I thought was pretty cool. But again, to the lowest common denominator. The Hunt for Skinwalker, man, a lot of harsh criticism out there about that film. But for the most part, it's made for people that have never heard of Skinwalker. That's my opinion, but that's what I get from it. And Bob Lazar, here we are. Bob Lazar, Area 51 and UFOs. What do we do with this film? Well, we're going to talk about this tonight. And the reason for all of these films with major distribution coming out so quickly, back to back to back, and there's more coming out. Okay, there's more. I've got a couple of directors that have contacted me in the last couple of weeks that have major film releases in the works that either have been on the show before or are part of the Fade to Black family here, and that are going to be on the show very soon. And these films are finished. So what's the reason for it? So is it disclosure? Is it part of the big picture? If you think about that, why this community, after viewing each one of these films, which is sitting back on their hands going, well, okay, it's cool. I'm glad it's out there. I didn't learn anything. Well, it's not about you. It's not about this community. Think about who else is seeing these films that are being exposed to a broad, when you think about the subjects in Sirius or Unacknowledged, secret access programs. You go from that Sirius, which is free energy and consciousness, right? Unacknowledged secret access programs. Above Majestic, That's a lot of subjects in above majestic. But again, exposing people to this, another part of this, the hunt for skinwalker, right? Paranormal activity at a ranch in Utah, right? And then we've got Bob Lazar, the whistleblower out of Area 51. So many are now wondering what is really going on. Is that the place that these films have right now? Not for our community. And I am comfortable in saying that. Am I walking away disappointed? Look, the level of a movie that you would have to see sitting next to me, the level of information, the comprehensive nature that would have to be so groundbreaking and mind-blowing for me to go, whoa, I didn't know any of this before. I don't even know what that movie would be. And neither do you, right? So is that possible? Well, I would love for that movie to be made, but I can't have those kinds of expectations. It's a very important point for all of us to realize, So I came away from Lazar impressed in the cinematography, yes. Technical issues, we'll be talking about all of that tonight, the subject of the film, what was covered in the film, should you watch it, okay? We're going to cover all of that tonight. But bear in mind, I just honestly feel the film wasn't made for me. And it wasn't made for you. This is made for everybody else, the Bob Lazar fans and the rest of the world. So this is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jermey Church. Tomorrow night, we got a special surprise guest. I'm going to make that announcement tomorrow. Thursday night, Teresa Yannaris is going to be here with a divine frequency on the airwaves. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. You can also follow me on Twitter @jchurchradio. We do have 2 chat rooms. We have one over at Spreaker. We have one over at KGRA The Planet. And tonight, a couple of things. You can use the hashtag F2B for the sandbox. You can use hashtag F2BQ for Fade to Black questions. And if you went to the premiere last night, or if you purchased the film, can you rent it too as well? If you've seen the film in streaming, give us a call tonight. 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. Let's take a break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jermey Church. Tonight, Wolf McCarron and I are going to review Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. We're going to do all of that. That's right. Wolfie, one of the original Area 51 researchers. Nobody knows more about Area 51 than Wolfie McCarron. I'm your host, Jermey Church. This is Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with me.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the Buy 2, Get 1 free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. Change tea at GetTheTea.com. We have many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with GetTheTea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. GetTheTea.com is a proud sponsor of Doing What's Right. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, I will be doing a review of Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, with Wolf McCarron. Wolf is with us now. A couple of things. Wolf is one of the original researchers down at Area 51, over at Area 51. And he videotaped just about every time he was out there. That's one aspect of Wolf's career. Wolf also was one of the technical directors of MUFON Los Angeles for a number of years, probably. I don't even know, but probably a dozen or more. And on our last season of The Unexplained on History Channel, we did a segment on Area 51, and there was only one person to go and do that for us, and that was Wolf McCarron. Wolf, welcome back to Fade to Black. How are you?
Good, great, buddy. Good to be back, and great to see you last night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And let's kind of start here, Wolf. I almost want to do some of your background with everybody.
Okay.
Let's do that first. When you first started going out to Area 51 in the early 90s, what inspired you to start making those road trips out there?
Well, I was at I think I was at UFO Expo West back then. I used to hit up all those back in the day. And I think I was at the 1992 Expo West and the 93. And that's the one that John Lear actually spoke at. And at that time, there was Norio had like a little booth out there. And actually, Sean Morton had a booth out there, too. And, Norio had all these, I already knew of Area 51 through UFO magazine and through, articles about Lazar that were published in that. Norio was there, was another one of the early Area 51 researchers, with a handful of guys, like 5. And he had, had all these pictures of the base and all that stuff. So it kind of got me intrigued. And at that time, I was already switching over my research from, I got sick about reading about books about lights in the sky, UFO books and stuff. And I wanted to, I just wanted to go after the military, because I figured if anybody knew where it was at, it was definitely the military. So I kind of switched gears in my research and just started doing that, and just got really hardcore into learning about military secrets and black ops and stuff like that.
And so
that's what set me off. I really just, I hooked up with Norio a little bit. We got along really great, and I just started, learning about how to get out there and that kind of thing. And I started making trips out there. My first trip was with, I think I told you before, was with Sean Morton.
Right.
Sean used to, pay people, charge people $100 and take them out in a passenger van out there. So I went with a couple people, and that was actually my first trip to Area 51, was with Sean.
And we're talking about Norio Hayakawa, everybody. And so you also decided, and I find this one of the most interesting parts of how you dealt with it out there. You got radios, walkie-talkies, of course, video equipment, and you decided to map out the area around Area 51, where the checkpoints were, where the guards were, and their radio communications. And you decided to have fun with those guys too. Pretty daring move. Are you surprised that you didn't get shot or get arrested after all those years?
Oh, well, I mean, I've gotten pulled over many times, especially near Tonopah. We got pulled over. One incident with the guys. After a while, I was there for a while. I acquired a team. I started assembling a team of guys that had expertise in certain areas, and I had one of the guys on my team. The main guy was, he grew up outside of Edwards Air Force Base, and he was, he's basically had scanners and, spying on Edwards for basically his whole life. And he was a radio expert at listening to frequencies and stuff. So he was like my main guy. So we assembled a team of guys. I had a pilot from SkyWest that used to fly right near Area 51 and used to monitor Area 51 from his plane. While he was flying a crew of people, into Vegas. And we started assembling a list of all the frequencies out there, tower, ground frequencies. Back in the day, if you have to understand, it wasn't digital, it was all analog. So we were able to tap into the towers. I could actually hear guys on the ground, the ground crews even, that was recording transmissions from the base for years while they were doing secret missions. I still have them, and it's a lot of data to go through. You have to go through it, but we were not only listening to what was going on out there, we were actually recording it too.
So did you get a chance to hang out or meet Bob Lazar?
Well, I met him actually at the little alien conference, which was in 1993.
Oh,
that's the one that I actually, that was at the little alien conference. It was called the Ultimate UFO Seminar, and that was started by Norio Hayakawa, and I think Gary Schultz is the one who promoted it.
That's right.
And and that's when I met him. But I actually was the only guy. There's only 2 or 3 guys that have the video of that actual seminar, and actually I was one of the guys. So there's only 2 videos I think on YouTube that exist, and one is this other guy's, and the other one's mine. But that's it. There's only 2 people that have footage of that actual seminar.
Yeah, I was thinking about that last night during the film when they showed him at that seminar. And I was wondering if that was your footage. That wasn't your. You would have said something, but that
I would have gone after him too.
That is too funny.
That's not my footage, but yeah, my footage is I've taken it. I had some issues with YouTube where I had to take down because I monetization issues, so I had to restart it again. But I should be uploading, just so your listeners know. I'll probably be uploading it within the next day or two. The whole thing, it'll be free up there on my YouTube account. It's called Area 51 TV. It's one word. So it's just youtube.com and type in Area 51 TV, and you can see all my videos up there and all the stuff I shot of the guards and Black Hawks flying over my head and all kinds of crazy stuff, and transmissions being recorded where me, Glenn, and my friend broke through Freedom Ridge the first time, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's all up there, but I'm going to post it probably in the next couple of days.
Okay, I'll get the links up there for that. I'm not gonna fully throw you under the bus, But I'm gonna share with everybody just a taste of what Wolfie is about. This is probably 10 years ago, maybe a little more. I'm over at Wolfie's house, and we're having a party. And Wolfie goes, "Hey, Church, man, you want to check out some stuff from Area 51? I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." So anyway, I'm not going to say what it was, but Wolfie breaks out some hardware. And I'm like, "Say what?" And he swore me to secrecy. But knowing that you were on the grounds, hold on, that was a sneeze. That was the sneeze button. Everybody just saw that on the camera. That was a real sneeze. Was the stuff that I saw. All I could think about at that time, Wolfie, was there's only one way to get that stuff. Right? There's only one way. You're not going to get it in the mail, right? You don't order it online. And my impression of you at that time is it takes some pretty big brass cojones to go out there and do that kind of stuff. And I've always wanted to do it, but Rita has held me back. She doesn't want me to get in trouble. But you did do that. And so when the audience is listening to you tonight, I need to have them frame that in their mind, if you don't mind, Wolfie, in that you were there, you were out there with Norio and the crew and getting chased around by the guards and doing the best that you could to find out what was going on. And there you go. So that being said, there are very few people on this planet that know Area 51 as well as you do. Maybe not even Bob Lazar, right? Okay. So if we look at it in that context, when, and we're going to go through this tonight, when you see the old Bob versus what you saw last night, what do you think? What are your impressions of that? Is he the same person, or has he changed for you over the years?
Well, he seems to be the same guy. He kind of, sticks to story, always does. But a lot of people think that's like something to be said, like, oh, he tells the same story. But that's not really necessarily true. Billy Meyer never, for instance, if anybody knows Billy Meyer case, he's never switched his story. The Reed case, the Reed UFO case, which is crazy, he's never changed his story. So just because he didn't change his story doesn't mean he's not telling the truth or not. And everybody wants, he's a likable guy as hell. Everybody wants to believe the story. There are some inconsistencies with the story a lot, and I was always on the fence with Lazar. And, his past and his MIT and his Caltech degrees, things like that, I guess we can get into that a little bit. It's like, let's say, a lot of people,
Wolf, let me jump in. Let's get into that quite a bit later, because there is so much to discuss in this film, and that is one of the important aspects of it. And so we'll get to that now. But let's talk about last night. We're downtown. It's the Ace Hotel downtown in a theater that seats 1,600. I was there. You and I sat next to each other. And I don't think there was an empty seat. That theater was sold out, and it was massive. Did that surprise you? And what did you think about the choice of venues?
No, I thought it was great. I mean, it's a beautiful theater. I had never been in that one. I've been in a lot of theaters in Hollywood, but that was quite a beautiful one. And the architecture in that place is really amazing. But no, I was really stoked that they sold it out like they did. That was great. I think it was good for the for the cause and everything. And I think a lot more people are interested in the UFO and all this type of stuff now because of it, because of shows like Ancient Aliens and all the reality shows. It wasn't like it was back in the day when we went to UFO conventions in 92 and 93. There weren't, you could, it's like sometimes you find a handful of people, that were into it because, now that there's TV and reality shows and stuff, it's blown up like big time. I always tell people, that I meet, I go, look, dude, I was doing YouTube before there was YouTube. Okay. So, so, but yeah, it's just blown up big time,
And the age group of everybody last night, I found that to be pretty impressive too. in that I think everybody was represented, from your 20s, all the way up to, people my age. But that was pretty impressive to see such a diversified crowd.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. They definitely promoted it right. So it was promoted right, I think, so. But it was a good night to be out with all those people and stuff. I wish we could have hung out a little bit longer, but that was that, So
yeah, we were there till probably 1:30, I think, when we left, something like that, 1:30.
Wow.
Now, I had mentioned at the beginning of the show tonight that we've had a lot of films lately, like Sirius and Unacknowledged, and recently Above Majestic, and of course the Hunt for Skinwalker, now Bob Lazar, 51 and Flying Saucers. A lot of documentaries being backed up by major Hollywood studios right now. What do you think is going on? Is this part of what is happening with disclosure? Why the sudden interest from the movie studios in this subject?
Well, I think there's always been an interest, but I just think it's kind of come back a little bit more. And I'm sure this film will actually maybe push more Area 51 and Lazar stuff too. It's just I don't. There's to me, you know my take on disclosure. I don't buy into any of it. Everybody talks about disclosure and it's going to happen, and they talk about even the new UFO footage that people always say was released by the Pentagon. It was not. It was released. It wasn't the Pentagon going to come out and say, "Hey, this UFO footage is we believe in UFOs and they're real and here." It was released by that organization through the senator. So it wasn't released really by the Pentagon. So it's not really disclosure. And there's some problems I have with the what's his name from Blink and some of that stuff going on. But I don't think it's disclosure. I just think there's a huge interest in, and there's always going to be an interest in this field. And I just think it's I think it's good. The more the better. But I just think with all the Ancient Aliens, all these shows, it's just gotten more. It's just gotten bigger. Since all this stuff. The internet and all that. Because we were doing stuff pre-internet. When there was, you remember being on Paranet and all that stuff, right? Yep.
Love Paranet.
Yeah,
Missed that. I was scared.
You were reading the John Lear documents and all that stuff.
I was scared of Paranet. I was
on it all the time.
I know. So was I. I couldn't wait to get home from work, man. You know what I mean? I just couldn't wait to sign on and see what was happening there. The internet was such, and this is the truth. The internet was such a scary place back then. It was so misunderstood. I didn't understand it. You didn't. It was a trippy thing.
I did. If I was a computer guy, I kind of pretty much did it.
But compared to today, right? And so, Paranet and some of my early experiences on the internet, I was a bit freaked out. I just assumed that somebody was watching all of my keystrokes. I assumed everybody knew where I lived just because I signed on to Paranet. I just assumed these things. Paranet really freaked me out. I just felt like it was like the forbidden fruit, right? We weren't supposed to be sharing this kind of stuff. You had to go out and buy stuff at the bookstore or get the latest UFO magazine or dig up some kind of video somewhere, but not sharing this stuff freely like what was happening on Paranet back in the day. I really did.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the same thing with me and my team and stuff. Because, as you know, I've been like pretty much under the radar for almost 30 years because a lot of people don't know my name because of what I was doing out at Area 51. I couldn't really talk about what I was doing out there, or couldn't post recordings of the secret missions that I was recording out there. So I had to lay low key. I got offered to do tons of TV and stuff back in the day, and I always had to turn it down, So it's not so recently that I started coming out was because it's been like 30 years. It's been after, and I figure, okay, times have changed a little bit. And people have to understand when I was doing all this crazy stuff, it was pre 9/11. So the security wasn't it was still gnarly, but it wasn't as gnarly as it is now. After 9/11, it changed everything out there with the sites and all the other bases, and security got tightened a lot more. I couldn't get away with half the crap that I did back then that I do now, that I did back then that they do out there now. So, but it was a great time.
Yeah, plus they didn't do the land grab yet, so you could still get reasonably close. Yeah, you could get reasonably close. You know, you had to do some hiking, you had to do some driving, but if you knew where to go like you did, you were able to take your cameras and all of your friends right up on
we were on Whitesides, Whitesides Mountain back in '95, and '94 and '93. I was climbing Whitesides, and that was the first mountain they took. They took 4,000 acres in '95, and they basically kicked me and a couple other guys off the damn mountain because we were thorn in their side. They couldn't even test fly anything because they knew we were up on the mountain,
Right.
So we'd have our scanners up there, and they'd be calling the sheriffs, the guards and stuff, and I'd be having my scanner listening, and we were tapped into the sheriff frequency, so we'd hear them call the sheriff, and we'd be out of there before the sheriff came to get us. So I'd be out of there, I'd be down the mountain and had all my cameras and all my gear and gone, by the time he got there. And then they also took Freedom Ridge, which was in '95 too. They took another 4,000 acres, so they took 8,000 acres total. Off the two closest peaks, which were like a 12-mile throw from Area 51.
Yeah, and with the right scoping binoculars or telescopes, you had a straight shot right down into the top of Area 51.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. I miss climbing those mountains. I miss that view, man. It was a great view. We sit up there with lawn chairs, and sit up there like 6, 7, 8 hours a day, monitor the base, in broad daylight, and the guards were right across from us on another mountain range, looking at us, and we're looking at them all day long. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to have to hide my video cameras in backpacks and stuff with the lens sticking out because if they saw me put a camera on my shoulder or anything, they freak out. They call the sheriff. But I could always hightail it out of there before the sheriff ever came.
So this movie, which was when this community, hears about Jermey Corbell's Lazar movie, which he's had the clips of it up on his website, Extraordinary Beliefs, for quite a long time. So we knew the movie was coming, but when it became imminent and tickets were announced, you're writing me, church, we got to go do this. Of course we were, but your expectations, like everybody else's, are very, very, very high. I want to start at the beginning here. What were you expecting with this film? Not getting into the details, but what were you hoping for going in?
Well, I was hoping for maybe some, some people that maybe some newer people that maybe come forward to corroborate his claims or whatever, that kind of thing.
Right.
And I wanted to keep, an open mind and just kind of watch it, just like I watched with you, and just kind of didn't really say nothing and just kind of wanted to watch and see what it is. I have to take myself out of myself because a lot of people don't know, or I'm a film editor too. So I've worked in the industry since I was, 18. So worked at Sony, worked at Warner Brothers. I'm in the Editors Guild. I've done movies, commercials, had my own post-production business for 15 years. So I know how to do these things, that, film editing and all that stuff. So, but I still took it like I'm going to watch it like that, and I'm not going to try to nitpick his film or his documentary or into that stuff. I'm just going to watch it for what it is. And that's what I did, But I also looked at it from the Lazar side of the stories and that, and trying to see if there's, like I said, I'm still on the fence with him, and I guess we can get more into that,
Well, so you just went in with an open mind, and you didn't plan on getting upset or bounding with joy, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to stay kind of neutral to it, and then kind of put my thoughts together all day today before we did the show, and I just wanted to kind of assemble some notes and stuff. So I have some notes about some things that I think of what my take of what kind of might have happened with him,
Well, my expectations. Look, it's Jermey Corbell. The guy knows how to frame a shot. He's very artistic. His stuff is just so colorful, and it just looks different. I've watched every one of his movies except for Skinwalker. I've only seen pieces of it. And so I knew that part of it was going to be covered. The question that I had is, you have Bob Lazar at your disposal, right? You got a clean slate with Bob. Do you take advantage of that? Do we take things to the next level? And so I went in with that expectation. I thought that it's a once in a lifetime thing. I don't think you're going to get to go back to the Bob Lazar well a second time, and do Bob Lazar part 2. Maybe, but I don't think so. And so do you let it all hang out, and is it all going to be in this film? And it's Jermey, Weaponize Your Curiosity. Okay, hey, I went in thinking this could be the one. This could actually be the one. And that's my fault. All right, that's my fault. You shouldn't go in looking like that, because I have always believed Bob Lazar's story in its general sense. How he got there, the MIT, Caltech stuff, always a big question mark. I live in the Valley, Pierce College, along with you. Yes. We know all of the names and the things, and Caltech is right down the street as well. This is our neighborhood. And so those question marks were always there. But I just wanted to give Bob the fair shake that I felt that he deserved. I watched everything that he had done over the years, and I thought that he presented a pretty convincing argument on the propulsion system, on what he saw, how he got there, how he got in, how long he was there. He had a W-2, he had a badge, whether he was there for a day, a weekday.
Well, the badge was a badge that he made. That's not the original badge. That's what he made that himself, a cut and paste job of what the badge. He wanted to show people what he remembered it looked like. So the badge is not original. Now the W-2, since he was, my take on it, since he was cutting and pasting the badge, I think he might have even mocked up that W-2. Okay, supposedly the Social Security number of that W-2 belongs to a woman from New York.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Okay.
I've heard the same thing.
I think that the W-2 is doctored too.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I need to take a break right here. But when we come back, one of the things that I thought that they just kind of let go last night in the movie, spoiler alert here, everybody, okay, if you haven't seen it, the badge is shown in the movie, front and back. Not talked about, not handled, but they did show the front and the back. And I thought that we were getting ready to, have Bob show us the badge and explain it to us. Okay? And it just didn't happen. And I was but I had never seen the back of the badge. Before last night, had you seen the back of the badge?
No, I actually didn't catch that part. I have to go through it and check it out again. I didn't catch the back.
Okay,
I'll have to look at that again.
Yeah, we'll talk. Right. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Wolf McCarron. Wolf, one of the original Area 51 researchers, video guys that shot Area 51 back in the day. I'll be right back. This is Fade to Black. We're doing a review on Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas. Come join us for the 2019 Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. This year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chariots of the Gods with Eric Von Daniken, and I'll be hosting the panel with Eric, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Billy Carson, and David Wilcock. Join George Norrie, Nassim Haramain, Robert Schock, Daniel Brinkley, Grant Cameron, Julia Mossbridge, Teresa Yannaris, and another 50 speakers who will be presenting at the 2019 Conscious Life Expo. Just go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com for tickets and a full conference schedule, or click on the CLE banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? ancientlifeoil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, I am reviewing Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, with Wolf McCarron, one of the original Area 51 researchers. We were both there last night, and the film, okay, this was a spectacular event. The hotel, unbelievable. The size, the enormity of it. It was great to witness and to see everybody, thousands, come together. Well, 1,600 in the audience, and the place was packed. But Jan Harzan from MUFON was there. Carrie Cassidy was there. Of course, Wolf McCarron was there. Alex Mastretta was there.
Yvonne Smith. Yvonne Smith.
Yeah, Yvonne Smith was there. And, of course, Steve Murillo. was there. And last night as we were leaving, I met Tyler Glockner from Secure Team 10. And that was really cool. Him and I had a chance to actually chat for a minute. That was really cool. Sony, of course, in the Orchard was there in force, but it was definitely a star-studded event. Everybody from ufology, certainly here in Los Angeles, was there. And we met upstairs when we took over the roof. A lot of people from out of state that were coming up and saying hello. I met some people from Cincinnati, from Minnesota, South Dakota, Washington, Florida, that all came in from out of state, and that was very, very, very impressive. Everybody had their posters, and it was just a huge premiere. That part of it was knocked out of the park. There was just no question about it. Now, I started to mention, Wolf, that, and I really want to get a little bit serious here for a second, and that is, I feel that the movie was not a documentary, that it was a tribute, and that there is a difference here. That, when you use the word documentary, people make assumptions at that point. Documentary means documents. Okay, that's what documentary means. And so however you want to approach it, that's where the name came from. This, I felt, was different. I also feel that it was appropriate, if that's the film that you want to make, that Jermey succeeded in that. He succeeded in making a pretty cool tribute film. When I say something like that, what do you think? Do you think it was a documentary or a tribute?
It was more like what you said, like more of a tribute. I mean, you can tell that Jeremy's a fanboy too of Lazar. I mean, there's no question he's a fanboy. So he was kind of buying into the Lazar thing, before I think he even made the thing. So I did find it interesting that he kind of, like you said, the first 45 minutes, nothing seemed to really happen much in the movie. I think the editing could have been a little quicker, but there's some things where he kind of puts himself in the movie a little too much that I thought. And I thought there was a lot of the old nap footage that was being used was a little too much too. And I get that you got to tell people that don't know who Lazar is, his kind of background and all that. But I just thought some stuff was a little long and a little played out a little bit too much.
That was one of the points. Oh, and a quick disclaimer for everybody. Wolf and I, after the movie ended, we did not discuss the film. We have not discussed the film until this very moment on the show, okay? Yeah. And that's a very serious point here. I'm getting Wolf's opinions on the film and how we felt about it right now in real time, along with everybody else. I will agree with you, Wolf, that I found myself after the initial setup of the film, okay, and you expect certain things, which is fine, that I was checking my watch, and it was a full 45 minutes before it took off and running. And I thought that was a bit much for me. It was a little bit too much setup. That's my take on it. You're a film editor. Why would you wait 45 minutes to get to something in the film?
Well, I wouldn't, but it's just the way that, I guess, his style, the way that he thought, he should do it. I would have done it quite differently. The stuff with the narrator, which was Mickey Rourke, that stuff seemed to be I think he kind of pretty much made the documentary straight out, and then he met Mickey Rourke and then had him kind of dub in his little lines and just kind of pop those in throughout the rest of the movie. Just to, he needed a name for the documentary, and that's all good and fine because you need a name of a person to stick into the movie to get some type of interest. So that stuff's okay. I'm cool with that. But Mickey Rourke, when you hear him speak, he sounds like Marble Mouth. He's very hard understand. I thought there should have been the subtitles because it was really difficult just to hear Mickey Rourke in the narration of the movie. You know,
it's interesting you say that because I had the same opinion, and when Mickey was speaking last night, once everybody kind of saw what was going on there was a lot of giggling that was going on when he started to do his narration because nobody could understand what he was saying, and that was pretty interesting. But this was my take, which is very similar to yours. Again, Wolf and I have not discussed this. Is that it felt to me that Mickey Rourke was an afterthought. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but you could tell that the movie was finished, it was done, and then I could be wrong, and you and I could both be wrong here, but it felt like Mickey was brought in after the fact and had his parts added to the film, and they didn't need to be there. They just added nothing to the film. But this is the thing. Once you bring in a guy like Mickey Rourke, and it doesn't work out, how do you take him out of the film? I'm not going to tell Mickey Rourke that we cut his parts. Who's going to go and tell Mickey Rourke that we didn't use your stuff in the film? So you're kind of stuck in a weird position there. I am sure that, and I mean this with nothing negative towards the Orchard or Jeremy. They're not stupid guys. They're watching the same film and listening to the same film as we are, and they're going, "Oh man, this isn't good." But you're stuck. You know, it's Mickey Rourke, and what are you going to do at that point? So Mickey stays in. That's a tough call.
I would have. Look, I'm a film editor. I would have made him do his lines over until he got it right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, me personally. Yeah, I mean, you're an audio engineer, you know.
Yep.
I would have made him do it over as many times as he could until he got it right.
I don't have any issues with telling any singer that he didn't sing his parts right, that he's got to do them again.
Right.
And it's gotten ugly with me in the studio, but sometimes, and you know what? Most people want to take direction. They need that. You know, and I felt like Mickey needed some direction, but it just didn't happen. Yeah. And so that was a part for the film that when you have an opportunity there to take advantage of a guy like Mickey Rourke, well, then you make it right. And if it's not right, take it out of the film. Don't let it detract, because in the end, Mickey started to detract from the film. Now, I want to ask you this. Did you think the film was ready, right? Or do you think it could have stayed in post for another 2-3 weeks to tighten all of this stuff up?
I don't know. I think he had it ready, and then I think he might have added the Mickey after the fact. That's what I think. But, you know, it's a guess, you know.
No, I'm talking about overall, all of the editing, all of the audio tracks, the music, the balance.
Yeah, well, I think that, I think everybody has a different style. I mean, he seems to be like a one-stop shop kind of guy. Like he does, he's doing everything himself, and sometimes that's not good. Like, for instance, I'm colorblind. I can't colorize a movie. I just can't do it. And I don't do it because I'm not into it. I'm strictly into editing. And I have an audio experience background, too, because I've been doing audio and video, practically since digital editing started on the computers. So I still can do audio, too. But there's always certain guys that if they're good at editing, they should stick to editing. There's good guys that are great at shooting. They're great at being DPs and all that stuff. They should stick to that. These guys that try to do everything, I'm a writer, I'm an editor, it just doesn't fly to me, man. Stick to what you're doing good. If you can't do audio, get a great audio guy doing your audio, But these guys that try to do everything sometimes, that's where they lose things. Because if you're a good director, stick to that, But you try to do everything, there's always something that falls apart if you get my drift.
Yeah, and so now let's start to get into the meat and potatoes here. And again, if you haven't seen the film, I'm just going to say this right now, spoiler alert, if you don't dig it, just cover your ears. In the very beginning of the film, and I thought it was an interesting concept, was Jeremy chose to have this clip with his cell phone, and his cell phone rings, and he starts to have a conversation with George Knapp on his speakerphone. And he's holding the phone up, everybody. I'm doing this for the camera, like this, and he's listening to Knapp, all right, on camera. And what this does, and I understand the artistic side of it, it starts the tone of the movie. It's Knapp talking about Bob Lazar, and Jermey is sitting and listening. And okay, interesting concept. I see where they're going with this, but that wasn't the case. It wasn't just one scene. It was continuous throughout the movie. Probably 1/3 of the movie is Jermey holding up his phone and listening to it. What did you think about that approach?
I think it's okay, but I just thought it could have been shorter. You know, it could have been tightened up, but I thought it was okay, you know, to do it. I just think some of the scenes were a little too long. That's my take. You know, that's about it. I just said it could have been tightened up better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it was just,
Yeah, my take on that was this. What should have been done, because once you set up that it's Knapp on the phone, then take Knapp's audio, use that as a voiceover, right? VO, that's your narrator, and then continue on with the movie, but you don't have to see Corbell staring at his phone. We don't get to see Knapp talking, right? We only hear Knapp's voice, this disembodied voice of George Knapp, which is fine, but replace the visuals of Jermey with Bob Lazar. And it could be anything. It could be pictures. It could be video. It could be graphics. It could be Area 51. It could be the sport model. It could be anything, diagrams. It could be John Lear, whatever, but replace that so we're not looking necessarily at Jermey staring at his phone for 30 minutes.
Right. I got you. Yeah, I think that could have been done better. There were some interesting things in the movie where he, what I thought was interesting, if we could talk about, where he was his remember when he was his dentist character, when Nat was, interviewing the Lazar back in the day when he was in blackface and not blackface, but blacked out on the screen, and he was known as Dennis. When he did say that thing where he said, he mentioned about him, well, I might get, thrown in jail for espionage. That kind of clicked to me with the article that I read, which you read too, that I sent you, of the Lazar story from the perspective of 2018, which is the new article by Tom Mahood, which a lot of people don't know who he is, but he's a guy. He goes back with Glenn Campbell and was one of the early Area 51 researchers, kind of like, I call him like the third generation guy after me, but he's a physicist now, full more physicist, but he was a guy that was involved with a lot of the stuff with Glenn Campbell, an Area 51 research back in the day, that wrote an article about what his take was on Lazar's background and all this kind of stuff. So I thought that was interesting, but I kind of read into that Mahood article, and I kind of side with a little bit of what Tom Mahood was saying about in that article. So I don't know if you want to get into that now.
Well, what was it? What part of it?
Well, in the part of it, like in the early days when, he took John Lear out to go see the UFO, right, on the Wednesday, when they went to videotape the UFO. I remember reading back in the day that when Lazar first met John Lear, they were friends, but he kind of goofed at Lear about, Lear was into this UFO stuff, and Lazar was kind of like, used to goof at him on it. Oh, yeah, this is kind of, UFO stuff. You believe in that, crap, right? Now, at that time, he didn't really tell John that he was working at Los Alamos, right? So he knew about these tests going on, but Mahood says that it wasn't a UFO. He's saying that Bob Lazar knew that they were doing a particle accelerator test at Area 51 with particle beam weapons, okay? And that they were generating plasma, whatever. And those weapons are used also for radar spoofing for planes and whatnot. Where the real Site 4 in Tonopah, where they have radar and they jam test, they have Russian radar there, other systems throughout the China. And when they test secret planes, they hit them with all the stealth and stuff and see if they can evade radar from Russia, from China, and Iraq and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, he's saying that Lazar knew that these were particle beam weapons. So he kind of brought him out there. Hey, I'll show you some UFOs, and he shoots, this particle beam weapon test, and then Lazar had to scurry off when the sheriff came because he didn't want to get busted, right? Because he knew he worked at the site. Well, the guards got his, or the sheriff got his ID, so they knew. That's how it got back to Lazar. They knew, hey, this guy works here. So what Mahood is saying is that Lazar, they had to tell Lazar, you either say that this is, we want to cover up this particle beam, we don't want this out to the public, that you just tell people that this is a UFO. That they were seeing a UFO. This was a UFO event. And it's kind of like if anybody knows about the Paul Benowitz case, where he was seeing these secret things happening, at the air base, and they started, telling him that he was seeing UFOs. It's kind of like almost the reverse of that. You know what I'm talking about, right? Jimmy?
I do. Well, see, and that's and specifically in the movie, Jermey decided to, whether it's artistic license or not, decided to not have anything combative or anything that was on one side of the argument. All of that was avoided in the movie, where I thought that it was going to be the exact opposite of that. And so you're bringing up, something like the particle beams, and that Lazar possibly knew that it was particle beams and not UFOs, but he thought he was going to impress his friends and show them particle beams and tell them it's UFOs, and it apparently worked if that was the case.
Well, then they got his ID and they said, look, you're going to go to prison, or you say this cover story, or you're going to go to prison.
But my point...
He did mention that when he was Dennis. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but my point with that is... the movie is void of anything confrontational, right? Yeah. So just like this example that you're talking about. And so what do you think about that kind of approach? Are people out there going to be happy with that? Are they expecting something a little more offensive?
About 51 and all this and this past history and all that stuff. And I look at both sides, dude. I'm not... when I was younger, I kind of believed a lot of the stuff, but as I got older and the research more, I kind of I always read both sides of the story and kind of take what I can into it, So it's not like I'm a debunker or a guy like that. I'm not. I take both sides. I think some things are conspiracies, but I don't think everything is a conspiracy, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of people in the UFO field believe everything is a conspiracy, no matter what, and I just don't do that. I might say, okay, I believe... JFK was shot by one guy, okay? I believe that, right? But other people say, oh, no, how can you believe that? People go crazy. So there's some things that I believe are conspiracies, other things I don't, I believe we went to the moon. There's other people that don't believe we went to the moon, So
yeah, we didn't go to the moon. Come on, we didn't. Wolf, do you really want to have that conversation tonight?
All right. Are you a flat earther now? And
no.
Now you think the Earth is shaped like a donut? Is that what you think?
No, that's you, Wolf. By the way, Wolf is a flat earther. Hey, okay, so
no, I'm not.
okay. Let's serious hats on for a second. But back to the movie. When you take that approach where you are going to avoid the concerns about Bob Lazar, and you're going to do that on purpose, is that being objective? Or is the movie, should it just be looked at as a tribute, and this wasn't supposed to be some groundbreaking evidence, documents type of documentary proving Bob Lazar's history and story?
There was some, there were some scenes where he kind of pushed him near the end. You saw that where he kind of was trying to ask him, about the element 115. Did he take it out of Los Alamos? Which he says he did. Now, I don't buy that story a little bit because they have those radiation detectors. Maybe he was able to sneak some out, but I mean, they have these, radiation detectors and stuff. I'm not really sure if he really got it out or not, but why is the FBI raided him not once but twice? You got to think about that too, right?
Right.
They're definitely looking for element 115. What are they looking for?
No question.
I mean, what do you think they're looking for?
Yeah, and that's the part where Bob Lazar becomes an enigma. It's a very, very hard thing to figure out. Okay, so now we're going to head towards a break. We're going to pick up when we come back. I'm going to ask you this question. Do you believe that Bob Lazar flew into Area 51? Not once or twice. I mean, do you think Bob Lazar was inside of Area 51 as an employee for 1 day, 1 minute?
Yeah, because I think he did get into 51, but even Knapp thinks, because he did say some things about the base that some people don't know about.
That's right.
He finds kind of that he was there. Now the like I said, the papoose thing, I'm still on the fence with. Like I said, we talked about Jerry Freeman, the hiker, and the lights and all that stuff. I'm still on the fence about that. I'm still on the fence about he talked about going through a gate when he was on the bus and he was going to Papoose Lake. There was a gate. And on all the range charts and all the satellite maps, there is no gate. So I have problems with the roads that go on the satellite maps go to Papoose. So there's still a lot of things I'm on the fence with Lazar too. So, it's just, yeah.
Oh, you can hear me doing that. Okay, I need to stop this for a second. I was actually texting somebody. I was telling them I'm on the air right now. So you heard that, right? That's pretty funny. Okay, let's take a break right here. And see, this is the thing, and you touched upon it, which is he saw things at Area 51 that can only be seen at Area 51 that we found out years later to be pretty spot on the money. And then you combine that, so you know that Bob was there. In what capacity, we don't know. But Bob was there. What did he see? And then you combine that with Papoose Lake and the side of that mountain, and for the life of me, I can't see anything there. And speaking of that, when we come back, we'll talk about the hand scanner, which was, if you're going to watch this movie and look for something new and breaking, it's the hand scanner. And that scene with Bob, we'll talk about when we come back. But that scene with Bob was awesome. This is Fade to Black tonight, reviewing Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, with the one and only Wolf McCarron. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, we're doing a review of Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, with Wolf McCarron, who attended the premiere with me, sat with me last night at the Ace Hotel and the Ace Theater in downtown Los Angeles. Now, I'm going to set this up for you, Wolf, because it was a very interesting moment in the film. There has been, over the years, much controversy about Bob talking about the hand scanner at the gate outside of Site S4 off of Papoose Lake that he had to go through before getting to the hangars, that this infamous gate was there with this hand scanner. Now, this is what's interesting. People have been looking for those gates in satellite imaging for years, myself included. I'm not saying that we would have seen this infamous hand scanner, but this has been one of the quests for many UFO researchers is this entrance to the hangars on the side of the mountain at Papoose Lake. Now, that being said, the hand scanner was revealed last night in the movie. This was 45 minutes in. This is the moment that I was talking about where we waited 45 minutes for something to happen in the movie, and we got it, and it was a big emotional moment. Now, what did you think about that when Bob looked at the photographs of the hand scanner and his reaction? Take me back. I want your thoughts on that. It was pretty dramatic.
No, I thought it was pretty cool because, he looked at it. You could tell he was emotional about it in the first time he saw it. And he kind of captured that on the camera, but he kind of you could tell Bob kind of got busted up about it, and he kind of felt some confirmation there a little bit.
I felt
so
that
he seemed a little bit happy about it.
Yeah, that's exact. Those are the words that I used. That he seemed to have a moment of peace. Right? Really? You could see the relief, and he was happy. Bob throughout the movie is not a happy guy. He's pretty upset about how his life turned out, understandably so. I mean, he's been scrutinized for the better part of 30 years. But that was one moment in the movie where you felt really connected to Bob, and it was like finally, after 30 years of just people dragging me through the mud, he finally, now is that proof enough to lift Bob up and just take everything else at face value?
No, it's not. But it was a good moment in the movie. It's probably one of the best moments there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I remember hearing about the hand scanner. Well, we all did, and trying to visualize this. And when you go back that far into technology, right, to 1990, 91, 92, when you were hearing about this, that was stuff that was in movies. Cheap movies too, not even it was just something that wasn't talked about. That was really advanced technology, but he talked about it and he stuck by it. And then somehow Jermey was able to find pictures of the actual hand scanners that were used at Area 51.
Yeah, and it was interesting too. A lot of people don't know this about me, but when I was in my dad worked at Northrop Aircraft, okay. And my dad was an accountant there, and I had a summer job there when I was like 18, and I had to go through a scanner thing like that too. But it wasn't that exact same scanner. God, I can't remember the year when I was 18, but I think then they would look at my face like on camera, and I had to put my badge down. I don't remember putting my hand down, but I didn't work anything secret, but it was just, access to to get in. I remember I did have to put my badge down or something like that. But it looked nothing like that, and that was probably when I was in high school. So that was probably like, that was probably like 82 or 83. You know what I mean?
There was again, this is spoiler alert stuff, but I do want if you haven't seen the movie, when you get to these certain key points, like this hand scanner section, you really need to just take the moment and absorb it and just let it all, take it all in, because it's a pretty significant point in the film. And then there is another spoiler alert. I have to do this. There's another point in the film where over the years, not only from Bob, but from John Lear, where Bob said and told John Lear that he had seen his first alien, and that his comment about that, and you can see this in Carrie Cassidy's fantastic interview, that 4-part, I think it's like 4 parts of her original John Lear interview at John Lear's home, where John Lear says, "What?" And he said, Bob said, "Yeah, you never forget your first alien, right?" Okay. Yeah. Well, it went from that testimony to last night in the film, where I don't think Bob was trying to be misleading. I think Bob was trying to set the record straight or whatever. But last night he was very specific that he thought it was a doll. Now, that's a pretty serious backpedal after what we have been led to believe over the years. What do you think about that?
Because he was asked that same exact question at the Little Alien Conference in '93, and back then he did mention that it was really quick, a little millisecond, half a second, but he thought he saw something of them, where he glanced at something that he thought looked like an alien, But he said it was so quick. But I don't remember him saying they were putting it in the seat. But he did backpedal on that. So for him to say the story has always stayed the same, he did change that part of it.
And why do you think? He would? Because it's so documented. You know what I mean? It's not this is third party, third hand information here. This is a well documented statement from Bob, and one of the more crazy parts of his story. Dude saw an alien right through an office window.
He said he did it in '93, but now he's kind of backpedaling. But he did it like he said it was like a glance. So I don't know. Maybe how you see something like that, like you so fast that you're not sure what it is, and maybe his mind is confused by confabulation. You know what I'm talking about? So
And how do we?
And maybe he had to change it in his mind to see if he was really seeing that, because you know how some people take things in their mind and change it, like if you were raped really young or whatever. You know what I mean? There's your mind kind of changes to make seem it's like okay, or maybe you wanted to change it to make seem like it's not E.T. It's hard to say, you know.
What do you think about the view that many are going to take? And it's kind of funny because I'm seeing these comments now popping up in Twitter, but I heard this last night after the film, as we were sitting around and discussing the film with everybody that had just watched it. And one of the comments that kept coming up over and over again is that Bob's mind has been messed with. That there are certain things that have been wiped. He's missing time. There's things now that he's imagining, and some things may be distorted, exaggerated, or taken away. Like there's no real aspect of what's going on right now with him, and we have to honestly take that into consideration. Now that sounds like an extreme, but I'm not the only one saying something like this, am I?
No, well, he did talk about, you remember him talking about taking a pill or drinking some unknown liquid, like a pine sol smelling thing?
Right.
When he was brought back in, when they found out that he kind of breached his, security thing with taking those guys out to, see the UFO and all that. So I think that's when Dennis Mariani, his supervisor, they were scolding him or whatnot, And so he does remember drinking something. I don't know if that drink had something to do with his mind. Like I said, there's so many things that could have happened to him. Was he under some type of MK control, ultra control? I mean, who right? What do we know, right?
Well, okay. So now, and not to drive this into the ground, but when he did the backpedal last night with the alien through the window, which he had drawn pictures of this, we have seen the evidence. He's talked about this over the years. It was one of the parts that of his experiences out there that we all identified with. It was it's fantastical stuff. For him to do the backpedal, this is the thing. If you're going to backpedal like that in this documentary, and you're Jermey Corbell, don't you address that head on? In that, say, okay, listen, why change your story? You were steadfast back then that it was an alien. Now you're saying that it was a doll.
Right.
Are you saying back then that you were just exaggerating for your friends and it got out of control and it got away from you? Right? That's the question that needs to be asked of Bob. Why is he changing his story?
Right. Well, we're always saying he didn't change the story, but right there he changed the story. So what is it? Is he kept the story the same, or he's not? Well, you saw last night that he changed the story. So
yeah. Okay, and now back to I want to stay on specifics here. One of the things about Bob that I am convinced that he was at Area 51. Okay, in what capacity or for how long or how many days, I don't know. Only Bob knows that. I don't know that answer. But there is one thing that convinces me that he was there, and that was the Aurora spy plane. How he described it, how he drew it, how he detailed it, what it sounded like, and where it was, and how it took off. The facts about the Aurora and the details of the ducting of the engines and how they were laid out on the back didn't come out for years. But yet he was able to unless that wasn't from imagination, you can't make that up. And that he nailed. That is that enough for you to admit or to yourself that he was at Area 51?
Well, not really, because the Aurora is really kind of an enigma kind of plane too. It kind of like, some people say it was never created. Some people say it was a McDonnell Douglas bird. It was operational, but then it wasn't picked up. You know how they go with Boeing or another manufacturer, or McDonnell Douglas or whoever. So the only thing I can say about that is I did hear in the I did see an object in '93. You know, I had binoculars on them, and it was during the daytime when they're testing. I have the whole mission still recorded. When I was with my partner, when we were looking down, it's like so this black stealth plane is making a bank in these on top of these clouds, and I'm looking at him like I'm looking down on top of the plane. Okay, he's making a bank in the clouds. I got my binos on him, and there's two chaser planes. When they always test secret aircraft out there, they always got two chasers, F-15s or F-18s, and I'm looking down on him, and this thing looked like a diamond, almost like a teardrop shape, looked like a diamond. Okay, and this was in '93, and I believe I was looking at possibly the SR-72, which is out now. Okay, so in '93, I was also monitoring the Reapers out there, all the drones coming from Indian Springs and all that stuff. So. But I believe I was kind of looking at, some people would call it the Aurora, but I believe I was kind of looking at the SR-72. And back then they were doing scramjet technology, and now it's the SR-72 is the hypersonic. But and there was one time where I was out there with my partner, and I did hear the sky tear, and it sounds like the sky is tearing, like somebody's ripping the sky apart. I didn't see that plane back at that time, but I did hear it, and that's where they call that the donuts on the rope kind of effect, where they have those
pulse jet. Yes,
pulse jet. Yeah, and I believe that's what I heard out there at that time. And that wasn't during the same time I saw the SR-72, or I believe it to be SR-72, but that was also documented in a documentary. I forget what show it was on, but it was like in '89. There was a show on where there was a guy named Chris Jones. He was an engineer on like an oil platform, and he was working for like Galveston Key Oil or something. And when he described this thing in this TV show, I go, shit, that's the exact same thing that I saw out there at Area 51 in 1993.
Yeah, I remember that testimony. Yeah. I do. I remember that. Well, and getting back to the film. The way that Jermey got up at the front of the premiere and spoke to the audience, and again, he's a really good speaker, orator. He's a hipster kind of guy. Likes to use some pretty tough language and stuff, and all and the tats. But sure. He's a good carnival barker, right? He was able to do what I would have done, which is get everybody up and yelling and screaming, and he did that.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Well. It was good. It was good. And when part of that delivery was that what you are about to see is going to be the end all. This is it. All questions, everything's on the table. After tonight, Bob Lazar is and raw team, and it was effective, man. And we couldn't wait for this film to start. By the end of the film, it was very apparent that no questions were answered for the entire film, except for, and it wasn't a question that was answered, the hand scanner. But everything else cleverly was left out. Now,
he did mention about the Mike Thigpen and about
No, wait a minute. I take issue with that. Okay, he brought it up. Okay. Was Mike Thigpen in the film? No. Did Mike Thigpen?
But he says that's in the extras. There was some audio on the coast to coast of Thigpen talking.
That's right.
I think that was on the interview. Yeah.
But not in the movie.
Yes.
Okay, and this is critical here.
Right.
And so you get to the end of the movie and you sit back and you say to yourself, wait a minute, Corbell promised us one thing at the beginning, and here we are at the end, and although it's a well-edited, cool tribute to Bob, everything that you said was going to happen before this movie started, none of it happened. And I don't know.
Why should that not be in the movie and be an extra? That makes no sense to me. It should be in the movie.
Not at the premiere. You don't do that at the premiere. Don't say it at all. But did you have the same feeling that I got at the end of the movie, where we were told one thing in the beginning, and then we watched the movie and it was the opposite of what we thought it was going to be?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I got a little bit of that. Yeah, I think so.
And well, how does that make you feel, Wolf?
I feel hurt. No, I just feel like it still leaves questions, about Lazar to me. It didn't put a nail in the coffin for me or anything either way. I'm like I said, it actually maybe might have left some more questions.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. So for you, there are two people out there that two kinds of people that are going to watch this film. You're going to have people like me that are Bob Lazar fans, of which I'm one, right? I am. I don't care what people say. I've always said that, and I'll stick to it. I've got questions about Bob Lazar, right? I've got questions, but I think he was at Area 51, and I think he saw things. So there's that part. But then you had the other type of viewer of this documentary that absolutely thinks he's full of crap and that this movie isn't going to take anybody anywhere. And the only thing that's going to change their mind is diplomas, facts, paperwork, witnesses, friends, professors, classmates, co-workers, right? The whole thing. And unless that is brought to the party, the story's not going to change. Right? Am I wrong in classifying those two types of viewers?
Well, let's say the element 115 stuff finally gets stable, then that will be something, right? we know that in 2003 they discovered moscovium.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Right.
And that was discovered, like it was brought out in I think Lawrence Livermore Labs in 2004, but they were able to do that. But if Lazar is right and they can't find an isotope where they can, do what they say that element 115 that he says it can do, then he'll be vindicated completely, right?
No.
But
no.
You don't think so?
No, and I'll tell you why. This is the thing. Okay. And again, I'm on Bob Lazar's side. But element 115, the one that is on the periodic charts right now, right?
Yeah.
That's just an element that has the number 115 on it. That has nothing to do with this material that was used to power up this anti-gravity propulsion device. Who says that that's the same element? It's just the same number. That's it. As elements are discovered and created, they are given a number. Look, I could say right now, what's the current periodic chart number? What's the last number? Let's go right now. Periodic chart, right? Table, right? Okay. So let's go there right now. I'm looking at it. The current number looks like we're up to 118. Okay? Here's 115 right here, unobtainium or whatever it's called. Okay, and so going back, right now we're at 118. So I could
115 to MC, which is moscovium.
Right. So I could say right now, hey man, I was with these aliens and they showed me this thing and they were using and I'm with another guy from the government and we're all standing there together and I said, so man, what are they using? And man, they're using element 122. Really? Yeah, but it hasn't been discovered yet. Well, you know what?
Right.
In 5 years, we're going to get to element 122. But what does that have to do with me? Right? So element 115 on the periodic chart, how do we know that element is what Bob Lazar was talking about? How do we know? We don't. We quite simply don't. We're confusing it. The only reason why is the number 115. And that's it. So Bob knows, just like I do now, right, that eventually there's going to be an element 122. That doesn't mean when it gets discovered that suddenly my story is correct. So no, that doesn't validate anything. What does validate Bob is if he produces what this element 115, what he's calling element 115, is produced, and then you show it, and then boom, and we get to test it out and check it out, and that'll be the end of the story on that. And he knows that. He knows that. Just whip it out, whatever it is, wherever it is, and let's go. And it was a part.
That's what the FBI was looking for, I guess.
Well, and that was a part of the film. That was the only part that I know of in the film last night that was covered up.
Well, I find it interesting that that's the second raid on his place. That's what I find interesting,
The second raid that happened after the interview.
Yeah, after the first raid. Yeah.
Yeah. So
his place was raided years back too. Same thing. It was,
Well, okay.
I think that's when he was not in Michigan, but he was. Where was he at?
Well, I think there was two. Yeah. I think there was two. There was one in Nevada or New Mexico with United Nuclear, and then one in Michigan. I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. But the one that Wolfie and I are talking about now, spoiler alert, they were doing an interview in the woods, this secret clandestine interview. It was good, too, where they're talking about 115. And the next day after this interview, Bob's place gets raided. And this is like last year or, it's recent while they were filming the movie. And they raid it. And during the raid, allegedly, the FBI mentions the interview in Element 115 that happened the day before when Jermey and Bob Lazar are out in the middle of the woods alone shooting this. Now, that's pretty interesting if it is like they say it happened.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Were they still spying on Bob, and they heard him say 115, and 30 years later they still think he has it?
What do you? I want a simple answer on this before we get to the break. And you talked about this earlier, and we kind of blew past it. Do you think Bob is in possession of Element 115?
I have no idea, but if I'm sure he's smart enough not to keep it on his property or somewhere else. Or maybe I would say Gene Huff has it.
Gene Huff, but no, I'm being serious for a second.
But I know Gene Huff. Yeah, but I'm just joking. But I don't know if he has it or not. I mean, I really don't know. But evidently they're still looking for it. I mean, I remember when Chuck Clark got raided out at Area 51. They took his computers and everything. They actually came in and they were looking for something, if you know what I mean. And they didn't find it, but he got raided, and they knew when he was going on vacation. They actually knew he was going on vacation, so then they could raid his place because they knew he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, and so that's the curious thing here. And again, it starts.
And that was through the Patriot Act. That yes. They raided his place.
Yeah, and so this supports Bob Lazar's case. And when we come back, we'll talk about this a bit more. In that, if there is no Element 115, then what are they looking for? What is it that they think that he has? What, plutonium, uranium? We all doubt that, right? So maybe he does, and that they know it, that he was there, he worked around this. He said specific things about 500 pounds of it, right?
Yeah.
So does this prop up his story? I find it very, very interesting. Let's take a break right here. This is Fade to Black tonight. Doing a full review of Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. If you attended or if have seen the film, we'll take your calls next, too, as well. 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Okay, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, tonight reviewing the new Bob Lazar movie from Jermey Corbell called Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. Doing this tonight with Wolf McCarron. We're going to jump into a different subject on the film now. Certainly one of the most controversial parts, which is his educational background and MIT and Caltech. And before we get there, opening up the phone lines, 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929 if you have seen the movie. If you have seen it, I do want to hear from you.
and we will take your phone calls and let's talk about it. Now, very curious your thoughts on this, Wolf, in that what was pointed out in the movie was that the MIT and Caltech section of Bob Lazar's story is that we are to ignore it. Those are the words that were used in the film last night. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I saw that. I took notes about that. To me, it seemed like it was deflection. You know, it seemed like it's the old magic trick. Look at the left hand with the look at the left hand. The right hand is doing something else over here. And you heard Bob kind of say, like, I don't want people to talk about the MIT or that stuff. I want them to talk about the stuff that I was doing at Papoose or Area 51, that kind of thing.
The stuff that I revealed, he said that is what is important here.
And I'm looking at that like, okay, let's say he lied about MIT. People do lie on the resume. Everybody knows this, right? There are people that do lie to get jobs on the resume. Actually, what's funny is I looked up that the lady that used to be the dean of MIT, she was the dean of the school. She lied, and the school found out about her, and they kicked her off. So even the own dean lied. That was actually worked at MIT for years. So people do lie on the resumes. Now, let's say he did lie about that, and okay, he did lie about it, but he can't come out now and just say, okay, I lied about that, but this stuff's real. Because if he did say that, then it's just not going to work, right?
Right.
So I think he's trying to poo-poo that stuff, like, oh, we have to care about what I'm saying here, not about my past. So because he doesn't want, if he admits that he lied about it, then it ruins the whole story. You know what I'm saying?
Why not, certainly in this movie last night, okay, why not produce a diploma? See, this is the thing. Okay, look, I don't care where I went to school. I went to so many elementary schools, I have forgotten some of their names. Okay, so I understand that. But every school that I went to, every class, I know every teacher in a general sense. But when I get up to more recent events in my life, like 6th grade, junior high schools, certainly high schools, I went to 3, and through any other higher education classes that I took. I never graduated from anywhere. Okay, I took a lot of classes that were, extensions. I did a lot of that kind of stuff. I can tell you every teacher. I have plenty of paperwork. I've got plenty of certificates of achievement, right? I got tons of that stuff. I saved it all. And any one of those teachers remembers me. We did projects together. I can name classmates and years and everything all the way up. I can do this. That's the one thing that, Bob, if all of this genuinely happened, it would be the easiest thing to prove. It's the one thing you've got going for you. I understand Area 51 co-workers, right, and scientists. That may be a little tough to get to. Okay, so we take that at face value.
Do you really believe he's a scientist? Because there's like, if he's a scientist, why aren't there any? Okay, if he said he did a thesis, why wasn't anything published? Has he ever debated other scientists? Is he really a scientist? I'm not really sure about that.
Right.
I mean. And even when he worked in Los Alamos, they said that he worked for Kirk Mayer, okay? That was an outside contractor. He didn't really work at Los Alamos.
No, and I did this. This is the thing, Wolf, when it comes to that. I worked at Bell Laboratories, okay? I did.
Yeah.
As a contractor. I worked for a company called CDI. I didn't work directly for Bell Labs. I worked for CDI, and I worked at Bell Labs for 3 years as a contractor. I was an outsider, and it sucked, right? Because you're banished. You're not, you're not like you're not a real Bell Labs guy. But anyway,
right.
That being said, I can still I can name my supervisor at CDI. I can name my supervisor at Bell Labs. I can name all of my coworkers at Bell Labs. Some of them I'm still in touch with to this day, right? I still talk to them.
And Jermey even said that he found the guy that drove him to Caltech or whatever that he interviewed, and that's not even in the movie.
No.
So where is that? Is that another extra? I mean,
Well, okay, so let's get back to the basic point here, though, which is it's very simple. You know what year, it's never sketchy, you know what year you graduated, and you have the diploma. You can't name a professor, you can't now, and so this is my concern here. I get it. If you BS'd your way through EG&G to get a contract gig or get in over at Area 51, I understand that. Just come clean about it, right? I didn't go to MIT. It was impossible. I didn't go to Caltech. I did work at Area 51, and I BS'd my way in there, and I got the gig, and I saw things. There isn't anybody that would hold anything against him because it cleans up.
Maybe he thinks it would,
See, and this, and I'm trying to defend Bob's position here because when I got hired, and I'm being serious here, when I get hired by CDI to go work at Bell Labs, I wasn't even 18. No college. I just gotten out of high school. Yes. I was 17 years old, and I turned 18 while working at Bell Labs, which freaked out everybody at the laboratory. I came into work one day and said, "Hey, today's my birthday. Cool. How old are you? 18. What? Right? So anyway, I went through that, but I didn't go to college. So I can understand where the credentials and everything, you're not presenting stuff, and you get the gig over at EG&G, and you get spirited over to Area 51 and you see things. You don't, after the fact, when Bob was saying, and I'm just assuming these things here, when you start saying, yeah, I went to MIT, I'm a physicist, and I went to Caltech, and I graduated, I think he got in over his head. That doesn't mean he didn't work at Area 51 for a week or 2 weeks or whatever that he was there. Mm-hmm. But just come clean about it. And I thought that hopefully in this movie last night, we were going to see a diploma from MIT or Caltech. Instead, they said, let's just ignore it. It's not the part of the story that is important here. Right. And I agree with that. Right? I agree with that. So just tell us that you didn't go to MIT. That's all. Dude, you were living in Woodland Hills, going to Pierce College. Where's the 4 years or 6 years of you living in Boston? Right, that's the critical thing. That's it. Yeah. If you can't, if you don't even have a gas
how did he commute? How did he commute there?
Private plane out of Van Nuys Airport. He was on Cher's jet. Yeah. Cher loaned him a jet. So, listen. I'm going to let everybody know now. All of the phone calls that are coming in, you're calling in on the wrong line. Call in on 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. Those are the lines that are open. I'm not putting anybody on hold on the main lines. Okay? So I would love to hear from you, but 323-275-9695 or, man, the phone call. What did I just say? And they just relined up. Okay? 323-825 or 323-275-9695 or 818-921-6929. But do you have issues with that, his education? Do you think that it's possible that he went to Caltech at MIT and just doesn't remember his professors' names or any other student or anything else that happened?
Well, didn't he say give out a name like Duxler, and I think Sam Freeman was trying to find the guy. I think that was the guy's name, but yeah.
Yeah, Duxler was his teacher at Pierce College.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you gave a name of any of the
well, at
guys there.
At the Alien event in 1993, he gave Duxler's name and the other one too, Hoff, H-O-H.
Yeah.
I forget the other.
Yeah,
and that guy was like his vocational teacher in junior high school. They found him in a yearbook. But neither of those names were ever at Caltech or MIT. Let's take some phone calls here, Wolf. Let's go to area code 512. You're up on Fade to Black. Who's calling? They just hung up. Okay. All right. You know what's funny is when calls come in like that, and it's deer in the headlights, right? It's just really funny. So, but not about Stanton or anybody else that's done research into this. I'm specifically asking you, Wolf. Were you expecting some educational credentials to finally surface in the movie?
Well, yeah, that would have been nice. I was hoping something like that would have happened. I mean, I think it was kind of neat about the Mike Thigpen thing, finding that was kind of cool, but they didn't really have him on camera, or he didn't want to be on camera, but they did have some audio on the Coast to Coast show, but they didn't use it in the movie, so I thought that was kind of strange. But yeah, something like that would have been nice. But like I said, I don't know. The movie just left me with more questions. I think, you know.
What do you think when we look at these movies that have been released lately, where they seem to be focused on the opposite of you or I, in that a movie would have to have a lot of information in it for you to go, whoa, I didn't know any of this, right? It would have to be just a crazy amount of just secret, never revealed before stuff. And I understand that, but these movies seem to be dumbed down quite a bit. Is it done to just get this subject out to as many people as possible?
Well, I don't know. I think it could have kind of talked Bob into making this movie too, because as you know, all the early stuff Bob did, UFOs and the government Bible and all that stuff. Back then the quality was crappy. It was like VHS or Super VHS. We didn't have HD and all this stuff. And it's been 30 years, and as well as I do, they can take movies every 10 years. They just came out with Robin Hood, and every 10 years they can make another Robin Hood because people the age range changes all the time, so they can always rehash everything like every 10 years. So maybe Lazar just thought like, hey, it's been 30 years. I want something to just, I've gotten older and I just want to put it out there again. So maybe a newer generation can know who he is about it too, and then just put it out that way. But I think it will give it to a lot of the people that didn't know about him, especially the Ancient Alien people, fans or whatever that knew nothing about it. It'll give a different take and a different spin, and they'll kind of know who Lazar is, and so it gives them a little bit more, like a newer outlook on the whole thing, So
that's interesting that you say that. Maybe he had to be talked into this, because that is always, I think, it's on the front of everybody's mind. Why now? Why is Bob coming out now?
What's the end? What's the end game? What's the end game?
Right. I totally agree with that. Let's go to area code 323 right here in Los Angeles. You're up next on Fade to Black. You're live.
Jimmy Church, Alex Listretta.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, my buddy Alex. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, man.
I feel like I've been seeing you guys forever.
Yes. Alex, welcome. Welcome to the show, my friend. And, thoughts after the movie last night. And, again, I haven't seen you since right before the movie. I didn't even see you after the movie. So it's my first chance to ask you. What did you think?
I thought it was a nice homage to Bob Lazar, and it was a good George Knapp documentary. But again, I mean, I think I agree with everything you've been saying, and I hate to agree with people, as you know.
Especially me.
We're not... and Wolf, especially.
Yeah, right.
But we're not the target audience for this. I think it's more for, I don't want to use the word fanboy negatively because it's not, but I think it's more geared towards, I think, people that they're fanboys. They're like, want to be entertained, that, have been following Bob Lazar for years and they love the guy. But from a research standpoint, we didn't really get anything new. And I don't know if it did anything to advance the story in a positive direction or a negative direction,
Did and coming away from the film, and I understand all of that, Alex, but for you personally, did you understand what Jermey was trying to do for this? Because you have an opportunity. You got friggin' a living legend, right? You got Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
The enigma that he is. You have an opportunity here to literally hit a home run, right? Straight to the moon, right?
Yeah.
Was that opportunity missed?
Yeah, I think so. I like Jermey. I've met him, just once. He's a nice guy. I think he's talented.
Yeah, he is.
But I think he got overwhelmed with his love of the subject and Bob Lazar. And, obviously this movie has been in his head for years, I don't know.
Yes,
maybe
it
20
has.
years or so, whatever it was that he said.
Sure.
And I think he's not able to be objective at that point. And I think I got lost. And I think he got lost in the project on some level.
And I want to ask you some direct questions. And you've been researching and been a part of this community for forever. And I say that as a term of endearment, but you've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I respect your opinion, even though it's very rarely correct. But that being said, and this audience needs to know that Alex and I and Wolf.
Hey, I'm the voice of reason over here. I'm the voice of reason.
We have stayed up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, many nights, debating all of these issues, and nobody's been a clear winner. So with that, do you think that Bob Lazar set foot onto Area 51?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so we have a problem here, don't we? Because we've got that, and then we've got everything else. It's like, Alex, what do we do with this, and how do we fix it?
I don't know how to fix it. I think Bob Lazar was very carefully selected, and he knew ahead of time these problems were going to arise, or they wanted these problems to arise. It's just another form of disinformation, I think. It doesn't mean that he wasn't there and he didn't get to work on, whatever he worked on. But I think this was very carefully planned, and I think the whole thing, in some ways, was a little bit of a setup from the get-go. At least that's my take on it.
And what do you think? And I want to continue this because we're going to head towards a break, and I want to keep this up after the break. Alex, what do you think the significance of Bob Lazar and George Knapp has been for this UFO community? What do you think the significance has been?
I think it's one of the strongholds, one of the base for this community. I think every so-called whistleblower that has come after Bob Lazar, from Burich, who I think was full of crap, to the Corey Goods and Emery Smith of today. This was the beginning. This started all of that. And I don't think you can. It's one of probably the top 3 most important events in UFO history. I think, you get Roswell, you get Bob Lazar, everything else kind of came after that and evolved from that. A lot of mythology, I think, evolved out of that, unfortunately, but also, a lot of people started with Bob Lazar. I remember when that story first came out, it blew my mind, right?
Right.
It just literally just blew my mind. I was like, what? This guy, worked on alien tech. I never heard that before, right? So, and that's, one of the stories that got me started. But unfortunately, it, like anything else, you have a core of truth, and, mythology starts getting built around that. Some obviously purposely, some non-purposely, and as the years go on, it becomes harder and harder to tell what's true and what's not. And that's probably for Bob Lazar quite as well. Your memory's not always that reliable. I think, the story you were talking about earlier about how he saw the alien, which for me was one of the kind of the red flags originally, because it just seemed real convenient. He's walking by the hallway, looked through the window, and there's a little alien there. It just seems like that was a whole setup for me. But I think it's possible that he saw something and it was set up, but as the years went on, he started rationalizing it, and today he's kind of a little more negative on it, probably, unconsciously because of all the negative feedback. I mean, he's been getting trolled for 30 years. Like, we all get trolled in this field, right?
Right.
I do, you do.
Right.
Wolf gets, some of us, you react much better to it than I do, for example.
Right.
But Lazar's been getting trolled for 30 years. And I think unconsciously, you start taking steps back on some of the things you said just as a defense mechanism. And I think that's very much in play with Lazar.
Yeah, he was pummeled. He was pummeled. Pummeled. I mean, he left the state and just disappeared. And I can't blame him for anything that he had done as a reaction to that. You're absolutely right, defensive or otherwise. I mean, holy smokes, right? Every aspect of his life was put under a microscope. Look, Stan Friedman gets on your butt. Whew, right? Well, that's just something that nobody wants. And now, he certainly invited it, but it did happen, and it was relentless. Wolf, I want to ask you the same question before we go to the break, and then we'll come back and pick all of this up. Alex, if you can, stay with us, and we'll pick this up after the break.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Wolf, I want to ask you the same question. For you, what's the significance that Bob Lazar and George Knapp has had on ufology?
Well, I think it was a game changer, for sure. Just like Alex said about Roswell or Kecksburg incident. There's many famous cases that come to my mind that were game changers. Kelly Hopkins. God, there's so many, but yeah, it definitely was a game changer. It was a game changer for me because his whole story was the reason I started doing research out at Area 51.
That's right. That's right.
If it wasn't for that story coming out, I wouldn't have done. I've been going out there for 4 or 5 times a year since like 1993. Doing research out there and spying on the base and recording transmissions from the base. So if it wasn't for Lazar's story, I don't know what I'd be doing right now,
Well, you know what? We would have never, I don't know if I'm taking this a little bit too far, but there's a good chance that we would have never known about Area 51. Think about that for a second. Yeah, well. Right? Now, think about the depth of what I just said.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, I'll tell you something interesting. One of the guys on my team was out there in like 91. He knew there was a base out there. One of my guys from Edwards, right? He went out with a buddy looking for the base. Like they knew about it before. I think actually before maybe even Lazar broke the story. And he told me that they went out looking for it. They got as far as they actually passed Rachel and went on the one peak before Tonopah, and they passed Groom Lake Road and all that stuff. They kind of knew we're kind of in the vicinity. But they didn't find that base. They didn't know where they were at. But he told me the story back when they went out there, like in 1991 or something, or 1990. So they were looking for this base. They knew one was out there, but they couldn't find it.
I still want. I've got 1 minute left. I joke about this, and I've been doing it for years. I mean, years. I've been joking about this, but I would take one for the team. I would go out there and get arrested. I really would. I would go up to the gates. I'm not kidding. I'd go up to the gates. I'd get out of my car. I'd wait for one of the guards to come out and talk to me. And
I've already seen that happen. And
hold on, Wolf. Wolf. I would push him and try to take his gun.
Well,
that's what I would do. No, I mean, I would
get shot pretty much.
I know. But
if you want me to go out there, and videotape your death. I'll record it for you.
Rita's like, the texts are already coming in. Don't even joke about this. She has said to me many times.
Jimmy, do you know there were guys that I worked with that every time I told them I was going out to Area 51, they were pissed off at me because they always thought Wolf's not coming back. Like they always feared when I was leaving to Area 51. They thought I'm never coming back.
Well, and see, this is the thing. This is my wife, who I love with everything that I have. But she goes, I'm not bailing you out of jail. It was like, and I'm talking about 5 years ago, when I started talking about this, and I'm okay with it. What I think is it hasn't actually been tested. Everybody's run from the camo dudes, and justifiably so. But,
no, I saw 7 people get arrested out there. You know that story, right?
Yeah, I do.
I was with Glenn Campbell on the Hill videotaping 7 people getting arrested right at the border, with guns at their heads, them in the ground, and guns at their head. I saw the whole thing go down,
And they got taken to. They were taken to the sheriff's department, right?
Yeah, and they have to sign a piece of paper. I actually have the document. I know what it looks like.
Okay,
and you have to go to trial in Alamo, and you have to pay a fine. The fine's I think it's a couple grand now, but you got to pay a fine, and then you got to go to court.
Oh man, I got the fader knots. They'll back me up on this. Let's take a break right here. We got Alex Mistretta with us, and of course Wolf McCarron. We're talking about Jermey Corbell's new film, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. Alex was with us last night. We all had dinner before the movie, and then we all sat together and watched the movie together last night. We'll take a quick break. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Be right back. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi folks, CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. There's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. We've got Alex Mastretta here, Wolf McCarron. We are reviewing Jermey Corbell's new film. We watched it last night. We all attended the premiere downtown Los Angeles at the Ace Hotel, the Ace Theater, for Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. And we're going to continue the conversation. And Alex, I want to ask you directly, what was your takeaway of the film? I have suggested, I don't want to ask you a leading question, but I have suggested that this is not a documentary, that this is a tribute. You used the word homage, which I thought was very clever and accurate too as well. Is that your takeaway of the film, that it shouldn't be classified in the documentary sense, but you are okay with considering it something else?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, it's a love letter to, Bob Lazar and that whole situation. And I think it was, in a lot of ways, this was like watching therapy. I think it was very cathartic for Jermey, to get this movie out. And by the way, it's absolutely worth watching. Everybody should watch it and support Jermey. He's a good guy. I think his heart is in the right place.
Sure.
But yeah, from a documentary standpoint, there wasn't a whole lot of research. It wasn't like, in the documentary, you'll put up your working hypothesis, whatever. You'll go through the steps, trying to prove or disprove. You have a point, a counterpoint. There's, several discoveries you got to have throughout the show. This wasn't really one of those, in that, strict sense. But the line's really blurred these days, though, between fiction and documentary, this type of movie. It's, it's kind of like I think it's a new trend in a lot of ways. So is it a documentary? Honestly, I would kind of say yes. I'll defer with you a little bit on that, but I think with there's some red flags in terms of, you have to look at it in terms of like it's very one-sided in a lot of ways.
Now, what did you think the seeing Bob today, at work, at home with his wife, and his demeanor? It was pretty cool. I felt that he was presented in a, he's just a guy, right? He's just, he's just a guy. And I think that he's been humbled by all of this. What did you think about all of that new footage and seeing Bob again?
I like that a lot because, like you, like everybody else, most of the footage that we've all seen is pretty dated by now. And I was kind of wanted to see what he was like today, how he would respond to the same questions and how he would react. And it was kind of cool, And, I think, look, we're all regular guys in this field, if you really, come to think about it. And seeing the humanity, seeing the human side of him kind of like demystify him a little bit. And for me personally, that becomes his story because it's more believable because he's just a regular guy, not this mythological symbol from, 20, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that part, in that sense. And he comes off, look, very believable. He always has, I think, to me. If you just, based on just watching his account, if you don't, without any background research, he's a hard guy to discount. He really is.
I did what everybody did. I watched over and over again every piece of video footage. I've seen it. I don't even know. Dozens is not the right word. Maybe hundreds of times, and I've tried to catch him. Right? Tried to catch him.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do that. I never had an aha moment where I backpedaled and started to discount Bob. And I know that there's people out there that are going to go, Church, you're just off your rocker. It never happened. I don't get that feeling, and I never have. And then at the same point, with if I had a friend that was like Bob, where there was a side of him that I believe and I trusted, and another side where there were so many red flags and questions about his character and about his past, that I would throw up my hands and go, dude, you're full of crap. You know, you can't have it both ways. I don't do that with Bob. And I don't understand why that I'm so willing to give him a pass card, but I am, and so is everybody else. Yourself included, Alex. I mean, you're one of the hardest guys to get to get you to change your mind or anything else. You're one of the toughest when it comes to this kind of stuff.
You know, it's like I've interviewed, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of witnesses, right, throughout the years. And so I kind of get a pretty good sense of when people are lying, when they're full of crap, in terms of the mannerisms they have, how they respond to questions. You know, I've had a lot of experience with it. And with him, I just can't find fault in the way he delivers his material and the way he talks. And it drives me crazy because it's this weird dichotomy where we all want to believe him, all of us. Well, first of all, we know somebody worked there, somebody works at Alien Craft somewhere. It happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it might as well be him. But we all want to believe him so badly because it's so cool. And every one of us that's in this field, and if you disagree with it, you shouldn't be in this field, want this to be real, want this to be true, because we all want validation of this phenomena, right? So you want to believe him so badly, but on the other hand, you're right, there's so much discrepancy in some of his accounts, mostly with this background. And so it's like he's like the Castaneda.
Yeah, I know, Carlos Castaneda. Yeah, totally. And see, there's another thing. I have, like most of us, I have a pretty keen ability to look at somebody and call BS, right? I will, if somebody even goes down that road with a little bit, just a little hint of it, they're a canceled check. They'll never be able to get it back with me, right? And there are, not without naming names right now, but there are certain personalities in ufology that are canceled checks. And they became a canceled check with me very quickly. With Bob, I've been doing this now for 30 years with Bob, and he's not a canceled check. I've been waiting. You know, I cannot believe that, but I don't see it in him. And I know I'm going to get knocked and get criticized, but if people are looking at me to discount Bob, I can't do it. With everything else that we've talked about, MIT and Caltech, I just don't think he went there. But for some reason, he won't come clean about it. But that doesn't mean he wasn't at Area 51 and he didn't see things. And that's where I stand.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Unfortunately, these days we're very much in the extreme mentality where everything, is all in or all out, and he doesn't qualify in either direction. He's kind of like, he's one of those middle ground guys in terms of veracity. And I think that's why people respond so negatively at times. It's frustrating.
Now, there was something that was missing from the film last night, and I didn't bring it up with either of you. I want both of your opinions. We talked about the alien through the window. That was a significant part of his story. Another, probably bigger part of his story than that was him witnessing the test flight at Papoose Lake. When he showed up, the sport model is out of the hangar and suspended in the air, and he's looking at the distortion around the craft. The craft is there. It's fired up. He doesn't know if it's being remote controlled, if somebody's in this thing flying it. He doesn't know any of these things, but it's his description of what he is witnessing. Certainly, if true, is one of the most important events in all of human history, right? It wasn't even mentioned last night in the film. What gives there, Alex? Why do you think that was omitted?
I have no idea. That's a really good question. It's puzzling because for all of us, that was one of the initial events that probably, again, blew our minds when we first read about Lazar, you know?
Right.
And why that wasn't in the film, honestly, I have no idea. I got no answer. It's puzzling. It's bizarre. It's such a big event. I mean, the two things I wanted to know about last night was the alien thing.
I think Jeremy's more concerned about proving Lazar's point, you know?
Well, again, why not? This is, if I've got Bob Lazar, right, and he's sitting in front of me and I've got cameras rolling, I want to hear that testimony. I want to hear it. I want to hear it again. Maybe he's remembered something that he hasn't talked about before. Maybe the story's going to change a little bit. Maybe he has something more to add. But we need to hear that story in the 2018 context versus the 1993 version of the story. And for those out there, the audience that has never heard of Bob Lazar before, that is, getting introduced to him for the first time, they need to hear this. It is so important. It was such a significant event in ufology, like Alex said. I don't understand why Jeremy would avoid the issue, Wolf.
Yeah, I just, like I said, it seems like the movie was more geared toward the validity of his trying to keep the validity of Lazar. But yeah, he could have thrown in a couple little things about Papoose and about the testing, and that's been done before. But he could have shown. I mean, Bob said he looked at the UFO and it became invisible, and he looked up and saw the night sky, and it had like a plasma effect around it, kind of like a Predator kind of effect, the movie Predator kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know why that was skipped, but I think it was skipped because he seems like he's really made this movie to try to just want everyone to believe Lazar more. He didn't seem too concerned about most of the Papoose stuff, but he did give him that chance to talk about the accelerators and when he was drawing on the paper and all that near the end of the movie.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Now, let's actually get to the end of the movie. After the movie ended, George Knapp and Jeremy and Bob Lazar sat down to take questions. I am going to let the audience know that at that point, I got up and left. And the reason why I got up and left, not that I wasn't interested, but I needed to use the little boy's room. So, and I didn't make it back into the theater. Did you guys stay for the question and answer, the Q&A?
Yes.
Okay. Wolf, did you stay for the Q&A? Or did you go with me, Wolf?
No, you left, but I didn't think there. Alex, was there a Q&A? I thought I saw them talking, or they didn't take questions from the audience, though. They
that's
talked amongst themselves.
They took questions from Twitter.
Yeah.
They took questions from Twitter.
Oh, right. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I was there for that. Yeah.
Okay. How many questions? How many questions did they take? And do you remember anything significant from that? Any significant question?
Well, to me, the Knapp talked a long. Knapp's got the gift of gab. He talked a long time, and then I'm going, God, you talk to Bob a little bit, and then Jeremy talked a long time, but Bob's not a guy that really wanted to even be there or wanted to talk about it. Like, they kind of threw some things to him, and Bob really didn't talk at all.
Really? Alex, do you remember that? Did Bob answer any questions?
No, I mean, it was Jeremy started answering a couple of the questions, and then he kind of turned over to, to Lazar. But it was, I can't remember what Lazar said. It was pretty brief. And, I'm guessing he was kind of uncomfortable sitting there. And, George has a tendency to take over anyway, and nap.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened. So.
Well, the reason why I'm asking you guys that, because I had heard from others that were there later, they said they felt like Bob just wanted to get out of there. I wasn't there, but I heard that from everybody. Everybody said the same thing, that Bob was uncomfortable. He wanted to get up and split. Is that the vibe that you guys got?
Yes.
Yes, I got that. Yeah, completely. Yeah.
How? Okay. I trust both of you so much, and I want the audience to share that trust, the circle of trust. How did it end? How many questions were asked? I mean, was it a half hour? Was it 15 minutes?
It was like 20 minutes. It was pretty quick.
It was pretty quick. Wow.
Yeah.
And how much? Okay, how did it end? I mean, was it an uncomfortable end? I don't want to put a damper on all of this, but
it was just like an end. Like, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you so much. And and there were. I mean, the people in the audience that were fans, of course, of Lazar, believe him, were one guy who started yelling out, "Bob, you're a hero," and stuff like that. So there were a lot of people in the audience that were big fans or believed them sight unseen already.
Why not take questions from the audience? Normally, you set up a microphone on one aisle, set up a microphone on the other. Everybody gets in a line, and you get to take. That's what they showed up for.
Yeah, they didn't do that, but it could have been a lot of chaos. As you know, me and Alex are very experienced with this ourselves.
I know you guys do this once a month. Yes.
It could go on for days because there's always these people that don't ask questions and want to make statements, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so I go through that too.
That Q&A thing could go on forever.
But how did the audience react to that? I mean, it seems like you would almost
they were just happy to see Bob. They were happy to see Bob there, and they just, I think it was enough for them. They enjoyed it, and they were just, happy to see him there. And most of the people in the it seemed to be, believers of it. So I think the people liked it.
Alex?
Yeah, I think at the end there were people who were just stoked that he was there and they could see him. I don't think at that point it mattered so much the material, which I guess this is kind of the crowd this was geared towards anyway, right? It was more like we said, kind of an homage to Lazar. So I think people were just happy to see him live.
Well, if I
would seen him live, but most people haven't.
If I would have stuck around, you know what I would have done? I would have stood up and yelled out a question, and been just obnoxious. Did anybody attempt to do that?
Oh yeah. There was a couple of guys that did that. I yelled out, "Is that Jim Acosta?"
Jim Acosta.
I yelled that out.
So people did attempt to yell out questions. There
were people. Yeah, there were people yelling, and Jeremy got a little ticked off at it. Was yelling back at him. It was kind of funny.
He dealt with the hecklers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's so funny.
Well, yeah, Jeremy can be pretty strong. I'm sure that was an uncomfortable moment. Well, now overall, as we start to wrap up here, when we talk about a review of the film, okay, I want both of you to answer this. When you read a movie review, there's always a synopsis. There's always an ending where the movie reviewer or the critic will suggest the way that they would have made the film, right? I would have done things this way, or I would have done things this way, and the film would have improved. Wolf, if you could have changed something in the film, what would it have been?
Oh, God. You want me to be that harsh?
I do.
No, it's like, I thought he did, like you said, I thought he did a good job. If it was just my piece, myself, I would have sped things up and gotten to things quicker instead of later, like 45 minutes in. I would have gotten to the story, knocked it out for people that didn't know about him, tightened that up and done that kind of quick so people got the sense of that. And like you said, the stuff with Papoose a little more, and then gotten into, but I think he just hung too much on I understand that the Mickey Rourke stuff had to be there because he needed an A-lister to get stuff for his film. I get all that, but the dialogue was horrible. That could have been redone. But as far as like the interviews that he did with Knapp in the old interviews, he just hung on those too long, and there was I think there was too much Jeremy in it too. But that's how I would have done it.
Alex, what would you have changed?
I would have taken Bob Lazar as close as possible to Area 51 at the gate even, and ask him the most difficult questions right there and then at the area and see how
I don't think he'd want to go to that. I don't think he would have done that.
Well, hypothetically, right? I think that would have been real interesting to see his response back or, at the spot, so to speak.
What do you think?
I think that would have been dramatic.
And I think there was something else that was left out in the film. And so I'm going to ask both of you the same question. We've got 5 minutes. Alex, Bob's impact cannot be measured, and I understand that. But Bob's impact on research and how we have looked into things, gravity waves, propulsion systems, this has forced a lot of research and professional physicists and researchers to look at things probably a little bit differently. His impact has been pretty significant, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's great. I think those are things we should definitely look into. And I think whether, it validates him or doesn't, ultimately just looking into, any scientific issue in relation. It's really important. It's a big part of this case, right? Whether his science holds up or not.
Right.
And we absolutely need to look into that. There's no getting around it.
Wolf, what do you think Bob's biggest impact has been on ufology?
Well, I think it's definitely, it's like I said, it was a game changer, at least for me, and it was a game changer for, a lot of people as far as the, there's nothing before like that, like Alex said, that where somebody's, I was working on alien technology. Now, after that, we do know about the Dan Beerish case and about Bill Uhouse, right, with the J-Rod.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Lazar stuff took off, from that was just more interesting because of, you never heard stories. It was always about lights in the sky or that kind of thing, or abductions. So this was kind of like the first time a guy said, yeah, I worked on ET technology. So that's why it was so important. I think it was a game changer.
Well, I want to thank both of you for this, and I can't wait for our next dinner together. Last night was just a little teaser, but we've got to do that really soon and stay up really late. And there's nothing like it when see, this is the thing. Not only with this show, but with members of the community. I've been seeing this from the both of you for over 10 years, where you guys invite open conversation. You've been doing it month after month after month at MUFON and now UPARS, where the openness and the communication and from the community and bringing in researchers to get the dialogue going is exactly what you two have been doing for so long. And I want to take the opportunity right now to thank you for the both of you for what you have done, along with, of course, Steve Murillo, and what you have done here in Los Angeles County. It's just been incredible, and thank you both for that.
No, thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Hey guys, be safe and be well, and we'll be doing chilled vodka here very soon. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right.
I'm down.
I'll talk to you guys. Thank you so much. That's Alex Mistretta. Thank you, Alex. Alex Mistretta and Wolf McCarron. And again, the movie is so worth the watch, and and for many, 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 many different reasons. But I want to say this: that it's worth the watch for if you just go and check out the new Lazar footage. All right, some of the other footage that is there is done to support the film, and it's footage that we've seen over and over again. It's been in the public domain for a long time, but that's not what's important here. Okay, the film is significant, and if you view it just as a tribute, there is enough stuff there for everybody to just come away feeling pretty good. If you're going to go to watch the film as a documentary with everything that a documentary is supposed to have, and that Bob and Jermey are going to present all of this new information to just absolutely squash and crush the critics and the debunkers with a mountain of facts and piles of documents and just all this evidence. Well, that's not what this film is about. And it may have been led that way and presented that way. That's not what it is. Okay, but is it worth watching? Absolutely. Go and check it out. Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow we got a very special surprise guest. We're going to announce that tomorrow. We can't do it today, and you'll know why tomorrow. But we'll see you tomorrow night here on Fade to Black. And then, of course, Thursday night, Fader Night with Teresa Yannaris and Divine Frequency on the airwaves. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.